Strong magnitude 4.6 Cascadia Quake on the west coast on the Pacific Ring of Fire after perhaps quake pressures from the Kirill 7 magnitude quake yesterday and the 5 magnitude in the middle of the Pacific plate in the Aleutian Islands. And unsurprisingly, we have perhaps pressure knocking off around Bella Bella, Canada. That's north of Vancouver Island. And we have to remind ourselves why this is very significant. There's Vancouver Island on the top, around 11 o'clock position here. Bella Bella is just north of that. It would be off the map here. It's an area that is really unpopulated, and you'll see on the map, we'll see together. But Bella Bella, Canada had a 6.2 magnitude 13 hours before the foreshock in Ridgecrest, the July 4th morning shock of 6.4. That was 13 hours after the Bella Bella quake on July 3rd. And of course on July 5th in the evening we had the 7.1 in Ridgecrest. Now Bella Bella, Canada has given more quakes to Ridgecrest. In 2015, Bella Bella had another earthquake 6.2 magnitude again, and it hit with a moderate quake in Ridgecrest 24 hours later. So I wouldn't be surprised because of the fact that this is, as we know, California, San Andreas Fault, and the Ridgecrest area is in a volcanic field, the Kosovo volcanic field, on the Walker Lane fault system. And we're going to take a look at that together. The Walker Lane is not one fault, it's a series of faults. And it takes up 25% of the subduction pressure from the Pacific plate underneath the North American plate. San Andreas takes up 75%, and the Walker Lane takes up the other 25% just about. And because of the fact that it's a series of faults, they get jolted and they're opening. They open up because they're not just one. Now San Andreas is locked with the Garlic Fault, and at the corner, the east corner of the Garlic Fault, where the Garlic Fault joins the Walker Lane fault system, that's where we have the location of the exact location of Ridgecrest in the Kosovo volcanic field. So let's take a look at this subduction zone, the area of Bella Bella, north of Vancouver Island. We know Vancouver Island basically is like a ship, and it swings this way and that way. And this is the subduction zone of the Cascadia area. And let's take a look at that. Berkeley, and this is the 7 magnitude. It was 6.9 yesterday. They've got it at 7 now. At the Kirill Islands, just south of Kamchatka. It's between Japan and Kamchatka, which is, of course, Japan has so many volcanoes. So does Kamchatka Peninsula and the Aleutian Arc. Here, all these are volcanic islands. And this one was what we had yesterday. It's a moderate deep earthquake, 144 kilometers. And it's a 7 magnitude. And also, obviously, that's big. So it jolted this whole area. Then we had the 5 magnitude here, plus other quakes. Okay. And that was at 3:26 UTC PM. This was before that in the morning, about 5 hours before. And then we had this one here today, okay, at 2 o'clock in the morning. This was just about 11 hours after the Aleutian quake. 11 hours later after the Aleutian quake. And because of the fact that we don't have many plotted quakes there in Canada, don't think that they don't have quakes there. They are full of quakes, as we can see here on the Canadian map. There we go. And this is what it looks like. This is the Cascadia area. And these are today's. It should be, these red are today's quakes. Yesterday's actually, okay. And they're small, but they're still there. And they even plot the New Madrid extension into the St. Lawrence Seaway, as you can see. And they've had pretty big earthquakes there. All right, this was the beginning of February. So there is a lot of activity there, as you can see. This is Bella Bella, Canada. That's north of Vancouver Island, as you can see. And it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's not that many people living there. I'm also Canadian. I used to live in Montreal. When I was living there, we were only 10 million people. I mean, less than New York City, and in the whole of Canada. I think now there's about 30 million because they allow immigrants to come in to populate the land. And this is our Bella Bella Canada area. You can't see, so let's go to the aerial so you can see much better. Okay, take away the historic seismicity and put in our faults and tectonic plates, and you'll see it's right at the junction of these faults. There we go. Okay, there we go. This is Vancouver Island. That's Bella Bella, Canada. And that's the Cascadia subduction zone. Juan de Fuca plate, one of the worst areas of the world. And this is the San Andreas fault. And as we said before, this had a 6.2 earthquake on July 3rd. 13 hours later, we had the Ridgecrest earthquake of 6.4 in the morning, which was the foreshock to the 7.1 the next evening on July 5th. And that happened again in 2015. They had a 6.2 earthquake here in Bella Bella, Canada, at this junction here. And it hit 24 hours later in Ridgecrest, and with a moderate earthquake, if I remember correctly, about 3.5. So we expect, as a repetitive pattern, that the pressure will go down to something here. Now this is San Andreas. This is beautifully outlined here, the Garlic Fault, right here. And this is where that little black dot is a lava formation. There you go. Oh, why is it? Okay, there we go. That's lava right there. Okay. You can see all the fault lines here. Amazing. Okay. It is a little bit slow. Okay. And we have a geothermal plant there, the China Lake area. Anyway, that's Ridgecrest right there. And let's pull out so you can see the faults on the Walker Lane fault system. This is the Walker Lane fault system. And it has a lot of high threat volcanoes right on this system. One of them being right here, the Long Valley Caldera supervolcano. This is San Francisco Bay. And we know here we had Salinas quake yesterday, moderate Salinas quake right there. That's the Hayward Fault junction with the San Andreas Fault right there around Salinas, California. And this is our situation, that though that area, this location, most probably got jolted by the big 7 magnitude quake that we had here. Then it 5 hours later went into the area of 5 magnitude here in the Aleutian Islands, and about 13 hours later it hit here. So please be careful, all of you on the West Coast, because we've had a repetitive jolting from Bella Bella, Canada. And let me just show you. Okay, we just saw that before. Okay, it's the same thing. But let me read for you so that we can get the benefit of all this. The tectonic summary. Oh no, I want to show you the population. There's nobody out there. Okay, let's go in a little bit. Population. There's nobody out there, as you can see. Nobody even close. Okay, here is where, you know, see, the south end of Vancouver Island has a lot of people. Of course, this is Portland, Oregon, around there, Washington State. But hardly anybody. Maybe there's a few people straggling along here. But that's why nobody reported this quake. Okay, this was not reported anywhere. Because nobody's out there. Okay. Oh, one person. Oh, one person since I started this. One person delayed reporting it to the USGS. Okay, they felt it, of course, because it's not little. But the tectonic summary, seismotectonics, offshore British Columbia and southeastern Alaska and vicinity, is because we saw very clearly the 7 hit here. It jostled everything. We know that earthquakes jolt other fault lines. This is, of course, evidenced and confirmed. And, of course, the pressure goes here. And I wouldn't be surprised if it also travels down as it has in the past. Now, the tectonics of the Pacific margin of North America between Vancouver Island and south central Alaska, okay, are dominated by the northwest motion of the Pacific plate with respect to the North American plate, a velocity of 50 millimeters a year. This area is going at 85 to 90 millimeters a year. We saw yesterday from yesterday's video, and this one's going quite fast as well, 50. This is like, it must be the fastest moving area of the world, really. You know, we think that everything is stationary, but it's not. And also the world is growing, the earth is growing at the rate of human fingernail growth every year. So 50 millimeters a year, northwest. In the south of this mapped region here, convergence between northern extent of the Juan de Fuca plate, also known as the Explorer microplate, and the North American plate dominate north from the Explorer Pacific and North American plate triple junction. Okay, and Pacific North American motion is accommodated along the 650 kilometer Queen Charlotte fault system right there. And offshore of Hydra in the southwest, the obliquity of the Pacific North American plate motion vector creates transpressional regime and a complex mixture of strike slip and convergent underthrusting tectonics. North of the Hydra Islands, plate motion is roughly parallel to the plate boundary, resulting in almost pure dextral strike slip motion along the Queen Charlotte fault. To the north, the Queen Charlotte fault splits into multiple structures, continuing offshore southeastern Alaska and the Fairweather Belt fault, and branching east to the Chatham Strait and Denali faults. Denali around here, we had the big earthquake there. Okay, and through the interior of Alaska. The plate boundary north and west of the Fairweather Fault ultimately continues as the Alaska Aleutian subduction right there. That's where we had yesterday's quake at 5. 13 hours later we had this. Where Pacific plate lithosphere subducts beneath the North American plate at the Aleutian Islands. Right? This area is still considered North American plate, Alaska and this area. So it's still going underneath. The transition is complex and involves interplate structures such as a transition fault. The Pacific margin offshore British Columbia is one of the most active seismic zones in North America, of course, and has hosted a number of large earthquakes historically. At the southern extent of the mapped region, offshore Vancouver Island, where are we? Between the I've lost it. I'm reading this on another, okay. The southern extent, did I lose it? No. At the southern extent mapped region offshore Vancouver Island lies a complex triple junction between the Pacific, North America, and Juan de Fuca plates. Amazing. Which includes the Explorer and Winona microplates, and the Winona microplate experiences little relative motion with respect to North America. Similarly, at its northern extent, the Explorer microplate tracks North America plate motion, but is subducting at a rate of 2 centimeters a year, so it's very slow there. Near its southern extent, adjacent to Nootka Fault, farther south, the main body of the oceanic Juan de Fuca plate converges with and subducts beneath the continental North America plate at a rate of 4 to 4.5 centimeters a year. That's very fast, centimeters. The Explorer microplate, before that is 2 centimeters a year, and this is 4.5, so that's very fast. The Explorer microplate is heavily deformed by internal adextral faulting, experiencing frequent moderate-sized earthquakes. During the period of 1973 to 2013, this 30-kilometer wide area experienced close to 50 earthquakes, magnitude 5 or larger. The largest of these was a 6.7 magnitude event that occurred April 6, 1992. On January 5, 2008, magnitude 6.6 and 6.4 earthquakes struck in the same region, just 40 minutes apart, and were separated by less than 20 kilometers along the southeast-northwest trend that is subparallel to the motion of the Pacific plate. Like many other similar events in the region, no damage or casualties were reported because nobody lives out there, as we saw. The Queen Charlotte Fault trends northwestward from the Triple Junction and accommodates about 5.5 centimeters a year. So you can see how fast that's. 5.5 centimeters, that's like, half a finger a year. I mean, that's pretty fast. The majority of earthquakes associated with Queen Charlotte Fault are purely dextral strike slip in nature, though occasional earthquakes exhibit a significant thrust component, such as the 1970 6.8 magnitude. Let's go closer to this so you can see. Yeah, okay. That's it right there. Amazing. Okay. The 1970 6.8 magnitude event and the 2012 7.8 event. 7.8. Because the Pacific North America plate is a motion vector adjacent to the island of Hydra, is oblique to the plate boundary. The Pacific plate under thrusts the Queen Charlotte Terrace and the western margin of the North America plate. The convergent component of the plate vector is accommodated by relative motion between the Pacific plate and the Queen Charlotte Terrace. The large earthquakes observed along the Queen Charlotte Fault was a magnitude 8 strike slip event in 1949, located 25 kilometers west of the north tip of Hydra, and the earthquake created a minor Fairfield tsunami, an uncommon occurrence for strike slip faulting. In 1970, magnitude 6.8 earthquake ruptured 30 kilometers south of the tip of Hydra, one of the first large magnitude earth events in the area to be recognized as having significant thrust component. More recently, the magnitude 7.8 Hydra earthquake struck adjacent to the south-central portion of the islands, and now continuing north dextral Queen Charlotte Fault motion extends into Fairweather Fault. There's a lot here to see, but let's go now to the conclusion. Within the greater Queen Charlotte Fault region, excluding Alaska, Aleutian subduction. Okay, let's take that off. So we're looking at this. More than 150 earthquakes of magnitude 5 or greater have occurred in the 30-year period between 1973 and 2013, with only a small fraction of these rupturing at depths greater than 25 kilometers. So most of them are shallow, and none deeper than 35 kilometers. Earthquake epicenters along the Queen Charlotte Fault express an east-west asymmetry, with the majority of seismicity occurring towards the eastern slope of the marine terrace near the definition of the Queen Charlotte Fault Terrace. And this can be explained by an east-dipping fault plane evident in moment tensor data for moderate to large earthquakes within the transform fault zone. And this is what I've read for you from this area here. Okay, this is what I've been reading here. within the transport fault zone. So this is the area that we're looking at here. Okay. PDF, no, I don't want the PDF, forget that. Okay, that's too much. We don't want to go into that. Okay, so that's the area we're talking about. And, oh, go back a little bit, sorry. Okay, what did I do? No. Okay, so this is the area of our map. There we go. Bella Bella is right here. This is where we had our earthquake today. North of Vancouver Island, Bella Bella, Canada. Bella Bella on Google Earth. We do have some, it looks like some people are, what is that? Some kind of an airport there. What is this? It's a water dome, okay. Okay. Bella Bella, okay, and you can see all these islands there. Sheer water. That's Bella Bella right there, Queen Charlotte Sound. And that's Vancouver Island. Okay. North of Vancouver Island. So that's where we had our earthquake. And again, it was very shallow, 10 kilometers depth. So we have to be very careful because of the fact that in the past it has, the pressure has also hit along the Walker Lane fault system. As we said before, it's a series of faults, as you can see here, series of faults. And because of the fact that San Andreas is zipped, closed, locked with garlic, it's here that this area here is in the Kosovo volcanic field of Ridgecrest is weak and feels the openings and feels the jolting. Okay, that is the area San Francisco, and this is the area of cross that of the, okay, no, let's go here, sorry, of Long Valley Caldera. Okay, there we go, Long Valley Caldera, right there. That's San Francisco Bay. Okay, so I just wanted you to know about what was happening with the recent pressures that we had from yesterday's quakes. The 7 magnitude all the way across the Ring of Fire on the Pacific side, okay, made a little bit of a pressure jolting here on the Aleutians, and then we had this one here today, 13 hours later. And if we want to go to the smaller quakes, which I didn't put up on the map so we don't get a headache watching them, this is what they look like. Okay, a lot of activity there. Okay. And as we said before, this area here has a mantle plume underneath. And that mantle plume from Baja has, it's like a Y, it has the west branch under the high threat volcanoes here, and then the east branch going up into Yellowstone. And what we saw yesterday was here with the Tennessee quakes and Oklahoma quakes, is that we have this area of the mid-continental rift, and we also have like a horseshoe coming from, it looked like west of Texas, a horseshoe coming this way, full of crude and natural gas. Now, I wouldn't be surprised that this, because of the fact that this intercontinental rift has magma underneath and the geologists don't know where that magma is coming from. Well, if we sort of combine the crude and natural gas of the USGS map that you'll see a couple of videos back, I wouldn't be surprised if this mantle plume is also, this magma is also coming from the Baja corridor. and feeding this area here. Of course, this thing here was very old. It's about 1 billion years old, that magma plume of the mid-continental rift. Superior was somehow much closer to Wyoming before this Great Plains started stretching out and growing. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you about this area. So all of you down here, please be very careful on the West Coast. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.